Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. So today I want to talk about why you should tighten your pitch when you meet with a new prospect. So this week I have been looking to switch testing companies for our applications. So like I said last week, a QA tester or a quality assurance tester is a different breed of human. Like developers will test the code, the clients will test the code, I'll test the code before it goes out to the client, before it goes out into the market. But having a QA tester to go through and vigorously test it is super important on as many devices as possible, ideally with some sort of automated testing using Appium or Selenium or whatever, and just really make sure that everything is tested as much as can be before we put it live, right? So I've been talking to a lot of different companies this week. Rowena on my team has set up she's done research on a bunch of QA testing companies out there and set up a bunch of meetings this week. So I've had back-to-back meetings with these companies, right? And it's been very interesting, right? A lot of the times I'm pitching to clients, right? I'm telling them about Overpass, they're telling me about their app needs, and I'm doing the pitch, right? So it's not too often that I get pitched to, and I kind of like it, right? And one of the things that's got me this week, I mean, we've had 6 meetings so far, and I got a few more later this week, and then a few more next week. So it's just been back to back. One of the things that's hit me this week is you could tell which ones are prepared for the meeting and which ones aren't, right? And a lot of the times, my opinion of them goes based on that more than the technical ability, right? So the first person we spoke with, so it was a Zoom meeting and we'd have the webcam switched on, so I always have my webcam switched on Zoom. And the first person, he switched his webcam on and we had a nice conversation, and he was very good. He just seemed to, he launched into his little, tell about his company. I would tell a bit about my company. He answered all the questions really well. He asked some very good questions, which is important, right? He was asking questions that just showed that he knows what he's talking about, and I really appreciate it. Things that I didn't even consider because I'm not a QA tester, right? Perfect. Everything was great. The next person, even better, right? He didn't turn his webcam on, which was, not a necessity, but it's just one of those things, right? I had a conversation with him, and that went really well. The third guy was even better, a lot more expensive, but even better, right? And then the fourth guy, he was not so good. So apparently the salesperson I was supposed to talk to, and I didn't really want to talk to a salesperson, right? I'd rather talk to somebody who could answer my technical questions. But the salesperson couldn't make the call, so he was told to get on the call, and he wasn't really prepared, and it showed. There was a lot of times in the conversation where these long pauses where he was waiting for me to talk, and I thought I was waiting for him to talk when he tell me a bit about his company or tell a bit about mine, and it was just sort of strange. Like it was just like you could tell there was a lack of preparation there, right? Even in terms of the flow of the conversation, like he wasn't quite sure what to say. He didn't really ask any questions. It seemed like I was kind of leading the conversation there, and the thing is, it didn't show anything about his technical ability. It was more about just the conversational type thing, and it kind of threw me off. But then one of the people that I spoke with, it was really bad. Like he hadn't ever done this before, so it was like he was just sort of like winging it, and I was winging it, and it was really awkward, and it was sort of waffling on. The conversation went all over the place, and in the end, I started asking questions, and it turned out he seemed to know more about a lot of the things I was concerned with than anybody else did. Like his technical ability was so much better, but we had such difficulty communicating, which as a developer, I'm torn with, because I don't want to go with some sort of smooth talker who doesn't know anything, right? At the same time, I want to go with the person with the most technical knowledge, but if they can't deliver, like if they're not prepared for the meeting, that's kind of what bothered me about it. Now, the reason I bring this up is because also this meeting, I've been meeting with a lot of prospects and a lot of new clients, potential new clients, and I realized that, dude, I'm just winging it too, right? In the back of my, I'm trying to just do like I normally do, tell them a little bit about Overpass, ask the questions and everything, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, which one of those guys do I sound like? Do I sound the guy who is polished, or I sound like who is not polished, right? Because I think there's a happy medium. See, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a software developer. So when I was working in investment banks, I would meet, like the vendors would come in, they'd bring me in as like a technical consultant when they're trying to sell us some sort of software. And I hated this slimy, they knew nothing. They couldn't answer any of my technical questions when I was asking them, and they were just salespeople, right? Which I suppose is a good thing, but it wasn't. That's not what I was interested in. And when I meet with developers, when I meet with QA companies, I'm not really interested in a sales pitch, but damn, it's important. It's important to be able to come across as confident and I know these things. Right, which is something I've been thinking about. I need to up my game in that area too. Now, a few years ago, I would always go in and meet with clients. Most of the time when I meet with a prospect, they talk mostly about what their needs are, which is perfect. I'll ask questions and I'll go through, I have a checklist of questions I go through, so I don't have a brain fart and forget one of these, like, there's the typical ones like Android or iPhone, is it an app or a game? Tell me about the game. Who's your target audience? How do you plan on monetizing it? How do you plan on marketing it? That kind of stuff. Typical stuff, and just stuff that they may not have thought about. And I'll ask it because to find out if they have thought about it, or if this thing's actually go, whatever. So, but a few years ago, I had a prospect contact me, and we met in a coffee shop. So, which I try not to do anymore, have meetings in coffee shops. So we had a meeting in a coffee shop, and it was like, I just thought I'd wing it like I normally do, and it was like the most awkward experience. I just had like a brain fart. I couldn't think of what to say, right? When he asked me about my company, I just started just randomly naming off stuff. I started naming off apps and certain industries and stuff, but not like all of them. Like I was just like, whatever came to my mind, right? And I felt like, talk about imposter syndrome. I felt like I feel like I've never developed an app before, which I had plenty, but I felt like I've never spoken to a person before. It was like I just had one of those moments. And I think that's when having something written down and having something prepared to say really, really would help. And that really demonstrated in these meetings today, right? Like I said, I carry around a checklist to ask those questions just because, and it's not so much that I always get the checklist out, but when in doubt, it's good to have that reminder right in front of you. The reason I'm bringing this up is not to say this is what you should do. I'm telling you what my experience is, right? We should go with developers. We should go with QA testing. Your client should choose you because of your technical ability. But a lot of the times, it's not so much your technical ability, but your confidence in conveying that, your preparation for the meetings that comes across, right? And I think it's something I should probably improve on a bit more. But, something, if you're thinking about getting into doing client work in software development or anything else, it's something to think about. Have that written script, or at least a set of bullet points in case you have to go through things. I actually used to have a PowerPoint presentation on my iPad that I would get out, and in the end I stopped using it because it just draw the informal chat vibe to a halt. It just made it more formal. It was awkward. All of a sudden we're looking at the iPad and I'm flipping through it and basically reading the slides. So now it's up here, or occasionally I might, if I'm on the phone or if I'm on a Zoom meeting, I might just get it out on the iPad and read through it there. So, but again, I need to up my game. Anyway, let me know, for those of you guys who do work with clients, or whether it's as a software developer or anything else, what kind of preparation do you go into before you meet with them? Do you have a script? What kind of research do you do into their company? Because that's something I could improve on a little bit more too. And let me know, what do you do? Because I'd be really interested to find out. Anyway, that is it for today. I'll talk to you guys again next time.